galactic civil war spreads across the stars. From the heights of Coruscant to fiery Mustafar, to fight the evil empire, for people join the fray. These are the heroes of the Hydian Way.
Welcome to Heroes of the Hydian Way. This is a Star Wars actual play podcast, and we're playing in Edge Studios' Age of Rebellion system. This is Arc 2 Questions and Answers, Part 2 of The Hard Road. And I'm Ben, the GM for this adventure, and I use they, them pronouns.
I'm Joy, she, her, and I play Keisha Javik as Sharpshooter.
I'm Erica Goodwitch. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm playing Norin Gremian, a Mirialan engineer-scientist who uses they, them.
I'm Zach, I use they, them pronouns, and I play Shin Shazin, who uses he, him pronouns, and he is an infiltrator, interrogator, but mostly a medic.
And I'm Henry, I use she, they pronouns, and I play Isasel An, the ship's pilot and captain.
And I'm Leslie. I use she, her, and I don't play anybody anymore.
You're yourself.
We can fix that.
Yeah, I mean, we really can.
I'm game. You know where to find me. And if you don't, that's what the outro is for.
All right. This is part 2 of our question and answers, and Leslie is doing the emceeing, but this one is going to be more of the out-of-character / lightning round stuff. Take it away, Leslie.
I will take it, and I will hold it, and I will keep it forever.
Okay.
I will start, actually, because poor Ben was kind of isolated in the last one because it was all in character. So let's start up with some stuff for Ben. And we're going to start with questions from your players. Zach's wondering how you come up with your stories, and what about this game specifically was your inspiration?
This game specifically is a lot easier for me to answer on account of it was a twofold push. One thing that I was wanting to do was not necessarily have combat be part of the go-to thing for everyone. That in almost every campaign, there's a designated set-piece combat setting. Whereas in this part, so far, it's been incidental. Like the very first one, we had a single weapon discharge.
Whoops.
In the second one, it came out of, well, I need to shoo everyone to a different location. This seems like a good idea. And some shots were fired. Very well, I might add.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, like, the idea of a non-combat, non-super threatening campaign really interested me, especially after Chronicles of the Gatekeeper, where the last act seemed to be set up, at least in the book, for, you go someplace and you're supposed to kill some guy just cause. Whereas in this, it's, okay, we're going out to help people, because it just seems to be, like, we all have our backgrounds, we all have the reason why we're here, but, just want to do something in Star Wars where we're going out to help people, where it isn't always the Empire doing something, it isn't always the Hutts or something like that, where it's just people having good intentions, wanting to actually help. Seemed weird, so I wanted to do it.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got me, a sharpshooter.
I mean, that is one of the questions. But, no, like, Kedra has been a really fun character to be planning with. Like, not planning around, but planning with.
I love it.
And the crew has gelled so much that it's been really interesting to put forward. And for the campaign beyond that, like for the different arcs, it's take a particular thing that I've read. Usually it's old adventure journal snippets that I've read and wanted to put forth. Though this last one actually was, I think it was a legal podcast I was listening to where the upper class people and the captain and that level of officer of the ship vacated and left everyone else on the boat in the middle of the ocean after something bad had happened to it. And it was like, what if those people on the ship were able to call for help as opposed to it being the 1800s and just dying? That's where the most recent one came from. And the one before that was as innocuous of a setting as I could think of for a, like, small mining disasters happen, but there's a bit of a mystery to, well, what's going on here? Why are all these ships going missing? And my whole goal to that was, the answer is not pirates.
I did enjoy that.
Like-
That was, as I was listening, I was enjoying the fact that, like, you left enough breadcrumbs that was easy to assume, and then it was just, nah, somebody just didn't do their homework when they updated the hyperspace lane.
Mm-hmm.
And the droids were fine because droids.
I mean, I got to shoot somebody.
Got to, sweetie.
I didn't
We're gonna
even
get
need
to that.
take off my suit.
We're going to get to that conversation in a moment.
Yeah.
But if Ben doesn't mind me picking the next
Absolutely.
one.
Go right ahead.
Darling Erica.
Right.
So this is from Filbert66. Did you start out intending that Norrin would be the, for lack of a better phrase, straight man and conscience? And will we ever see Norrin let loose?
Norrin definitely has an anxiety disorder. Norrin is very much the normal person. Like, of course, they're super intelligent and they live in Star Wars, but they come from, like an average home life with like the super talented younger sibling who's got a great start in life, and like the single dad who's just trying to be semi-retired. Like, Norrin's just a normal person with an anxiety disorder. And when we were trying to make our characters for this campaign is when Andrew finally released the Halloween episode that I had recorded with him, like in 2020. And I got to hear Norrin again. And I was just like, oh, I really love that character. I want to play them again.
I think that is perfect.
So no, like, I mean, I think the normal person in in any sort of like tabletop role-playing game is going to end up being like the straight man.
That's pretty fair, yeah.
So while it wasn't my intention, it's definitely the natural role to fill.
Well, and you are going up against a lot of personality across the board, so pretty fair. Speaking of personality, I'm going to move down to Twitchy Taco's question. Who let Isazel pilot?
It's not a matter of let.
I had no control over that.
Hey, she's a great pilot.
Isazel walked in like, yeah, I'm a master pilot, and none of us were being able to be like, okay.
If you roll with a full confidence, no one questions it. I think I even made part of her backstory we'll get to eventually. It's just like, she's always just kind of gone and done stuff, and if she found interest in it, she did it, and it just so happened flying these gigantic ships that she would see leave Canary was, I'm gonna learn how to ride that thing. And now it's just, if you roll in full confidence, no one's gonna stop you. That's the big thing. She doesn't have a license. They don't know. They don't need to know.
I think we know now.
You need a license for that?
It's space. No one needs a license. Who are you going to go to? The Empire's bureaucracy?
I mean, Shin flew the ship too, so...
She said it was fine. I didn't know I needed a license.
And Hydro is completely fine with it.
Yeah, I feel like Keedra's probably completely fine with a lot of things.
As long as you don't take her gun from her.
Speaking of being okay with a lot of things, I'm not sure if this is one of V'ger's questions or if it was just a random one. I think it must be V'ger's, the way it's in the document. But, okay, seriously. Kidnapping and threatening a dock worker. What the heck?
Really?
That one's me.
Oh, that one's Ben? Okay. Ben, would you like to reiterate for me?
No. You did a really good job.
What the heck?
It's not really kidnapping. He's not a kid.
Adult napping? Would you prefer us to be pedantic?
Yeah,
Abducting.
Abducting.
The word we're
There you
looking
go.
for
She
is
was-
abducting.
She was more procuring the person so that she could interrogate them in her way so that she could get the information she wanted. She thought if she scared him, she'd get the information. She'd give him
Scared
back.
him.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was pretty
being
scary.
shot is scary, right?
She thought he was the
Yeah.
bad guy. You don't follow the same rules for bad
This
guys.
is why you always keep your eyes down, hands up, move slowly, no,
Yeah,
sudden movements.
No sudden movement.
Don't bare your teeth. Just
Don't bury your teeth. So you're not allowed to smile at Keedra either. Oh, no.
No running. Her hunter instinct kicks in.
Okay, prey drive, Keedra. Good thing to keep in mind.
Yep.
Keedra / Joy looks to be wondering what makes Shen so confident while being so short. Please don't
I
shoot
think
the messenger.
I think it comes from the background, honestly. Coming from a Shin's background, it's not so much confidence as it is swagger and knowing how to get people to go along with what they're doing.
I thought it was the shirts.
Well, the shirts help for sure. That's a big part of it. You just got to be unassuming. But honestly, people believe that Shin is a highly credentialed medical personnel. It's all about what people think they know about you, you know?
So confidence.
That's the thing. I don't think if people know too much about Shin, he's not confident. Like,
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
it's
I feel like it needs to be stated. Like, as the normal person, the straight man, if we will,
As the quote-unquote normal person, yes. Continue.
Norn got blacklisted and needed a job. And therefore is trying to remind themselves not to ask too many questions. But there are so many questions rising up about this crew. Izazel not having a license. Shen being definitely not a trained medical professional.
he's
Keedra
trained
just
with
being
medicines.
Keedra.
He's got training.
Listen,
Fine.
Even more
I can
medicines.
keep people alive.
You are not an MD.
He says
Oh,
that had
no.
medical-
I never said I was. I never
If
said
he's
I
manic
was.
depressive.
It's like
I said I
Norton's
was
being
a
like,
medic.
maybe I should have asked some questions.
I got hired for
Too
being a
late now.
sharpshooter.
I think one time Shin almost called himself a doctor, but stopped himself because he didn't want to lie. But about that, at least, and constantly refers to himself as a medical professional because I
that
can
sounds
keep
correct.
people alive
That's
long enough to
there's
answer questions.
I mean-
so many ways to still be considered alive when you're poured out on the floor.
Yeah, I know, right?
Norton's
Oh,
like,
good
I've
night.
studied xenology, so I guess I can help.
Nord is definitely more of a doctor than Shin probably is. Probably.
Well,
It's like Norton's left their comfortable little bubble of existence and has been thrown to the wolves and is just like trying to ride the waves.
I don't think they're wolves so much as very overexcited, maybe wolf domesticated dog hybrids.
Shin's
got
more
really
like, look,
sharp
this is how
teeth.
you make them bleed. This is how you stop the bleeding. This is how you make them bleed somewhere else. This
I
is
feel
how
like-
you stop that bleeding.
Shen, you're just initiating more questions.
I'm
this point.
I'm good at helping with the bleeding.
Listen, eventually we're gonna get to the
Pausing.
point where it's gonna like, all right, little Mix went to the University of Coruscant and now is part of this unaligned organization, where like what laws are we beholden to then? If not,
listen, Orin, I've seen some stuff.
The laws of the stars.
As the station turns.
So, since I already called out V'ger, I'm going to go ahead and actually pick one of V'ger's questions. What has been the most challenging part of being in the show, and what has been the most unexpected fun part? You guys can take it in turns. Everybody can answer, or you can pass. I'm not counting yet.
Leslie's not.
I'm the nice one.
I think the hardest part about any TTRPG is the scheduling. Right? Like, you want everyone to be at the table. You want everyone to be ready to do, to play the game. But you also want to be open to the fact that people can't, And I am constantly needing to be occupied in some fashion. So when it comes to playing like other games, I sometimes I spread myself thin because like I need the stimulus. The hardest part for most any TTRPG is scheduling, in my opinion.
That seems pretty fair.
I mean, yeah. That's a whole thing. I have things that I want to happen that I have to be patient for. And that is just normal for me, honestly, across the board. There's so many, like, I have, like, goals and things for characters that's not going to happen for, like, years down the line, and I just have to wait for it.
I mean, totally fair. Getting lists of those would be awesome.
I would play this game every week to learn about these characters more.
I was going to say my biggest problem that I find is like sometimes I find myself I just want to listen as they're playing because I'm so enraptured with their characters and I forget that Keedra's there and I'm like, wait, no, I'm actually in this scene. But like that's my biggest problem. Like sometimes I feel like my personality is so weird. So I feel like I'm over the top sometimes. And I don't want to like ruin their part of what they're doing. And so I try like, for me, like it's I want to listen and I want to help their characters and I want to like be that person. But like at the same time, like it's so fun to play. So my biggest challenge is like remembering that I'm in the scene and remembering that I'm there so that I can actually play. But like, yeah, I'm enraptured with all their characters.
Keedra's always an enhancement to any scene.
Not always.
Keedra is a delight.
I feel like she's
and a joy.
Story-wise,
I feel like she's the annoying one.
I love riffing off of
Not
Keidra.
annoying.
No way. Yeah, no way.
I feel like it sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, my character is so annoying.
Yeah,
Not
but that's because
annoying.
you're in your own head.
That's
And
true.
Exactly.
That's not always a great place to be.
No.
You're a delight.
You are. And it's funny, the challenging part to me is, and you're gonna laugh, this reining my character in. This is probably the calmest character I've ever played.
Now, see that scares me.
It's terrifying.
I will say, like, part of some of my personality from Keidra came because I played off of Isazel.
Oh yeah, it's
I love
great.
it.
Like this is my other characters are usually insane and usually has DMs from my previous GM just going like, "What was that?" And it's like, "Don't worry about it. You just gotta figure it out."
You know, Jones isn't even this first droid I've seen with a mustache and a monocle before, Henry. Though yours wasn't really wearing a mustache and a monocle, I suppose. It was much more weird.
I told myself when I started this campaign that I wasn't going to be a weird character because I just got done playing Talana, which was totally over the top as well. And I was like, I'm gonna be more serious. And I just couldn't help myself. I was like, when this is out, and then we're like, with some of the things that they said, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go with it. It's my character would go with it. So I'm like,
hey, you know what? When you have a type and it's enjoyed across the board, I think you're doing all right.
What?
Have fun.
Joy playing, little balls of hyperactive sunshine, and Erica playing a smart person, and Henry playing a chaos with a little bit of like that.
I just try to play off of other characters.
Yeah.
I don't think I've said this before. I like to riff off of other characters. It's so much fun when it feels real.
Yeah, I don't think I've noticed a type for you, Zach, and I've played so many games.
I try not to be the same. I try not to be the same whenever I play games because I want to run the gamut. I want to be all these different players, and
I can't help but be a problem solver.
My problem is I like to fill roles, and sometimes I have to remember, no, this character doesn't do this role. This is not this character's role. I need to stop trying to do this with this character. But yeah, I just like being utilitarian, I guess. I don't know.
Well, this kind of segues actually into, I think we determined it was Hurley previously. Hurley's question for the cast. How much of your character's personality and mannerisms did you plan ahead of time? And how much have you picked up since the show began? Kind of sounds like we started answering this question.
Let me try and remember back to fall of 2020.
If you haven't blocked it out.
Large portions of 2020 are blocked out, yes.
For me, with any character that I ever play, I have a generic, like, this is kind of how I want to play my character. But I'm a writer. I like to write, like, stories. I like doing stuff. So for me, like, when my character starts to develop, like, I let things around them dictate, like, how their personality and their traits and that happen. And then in my brain, their personality just goes. And sometimes I have to rein in my character, which is kind of weird. But, like, I have to, like, rein in my character and say, like, you can't do this. Because my character's like, no, I want to do this. And I'm like, that's not part of your character. Like, it's not on your sheet. Stop it. And so, like, yeah, like, even when I write stories, I have to rewrite portions because my characters just get away with me. But, yeah, I don't ever usually plan a lot of my personality. I let that kind of just come through, and I think it can sometimes make the weirdest things.
I'll say for Isacel, her accent is the first thing I came up with there, because I'll say now, when I first watched Rogue One, fun fact, that was, I had proposed to my partner then, and I really enjoyed the movie because I'm Mexican, and Diego Luna having his accent was so, like, amazing to me. So when I was coming up with the character for Ben here, I was like, oh, can I be from Canary? And immediately I was like, I can keep my Mexican tia accents, which I always use for characters I name Isabella, which is where the name Isaselan comes from. It's just like, okay,
awesome.
Give her the voice of your tia, your prima, todos, and just have fun with it. Though I will say, she's really calmed down since I started playing her. Like I said, rating in my character, it's like, okay, let's have a character that's gonna become a leader, which means she's gonna, like, rein herself in and be a leader. Still kind of chaotic and also has weird rules and stuff, but that's, what you pick up in the game.
Offline games I play, or not offline, like non-tabletop RPGs, like regular RPGs or MMOs and stuff. I play healers a lot. And when Ben said, no, like, let's try to stray away from combat, at least at the beginning, I was like, all right, what can I do that's not combat, but not what you would expect, and how can I make this a healer? For whatever reason, when I was making Shen, I could not get Chip from Chip and Dale out of my head. And for whatever reason, Chip was also Tom Selleck, but was also Archer, and I couldn't separate any of it in my head, so I had to make it one character. But I also have to try to make myself do less, because I get so excited, especially playing with this group. It's hard for me to, like, back down from things sometimes.
Yeah, y'all aren't lacking in the enthusiasm.
So I had to make them older. That way, I'm like, listen, you're not spry. You can't be doing all the running around stuff. You did a lot of it back in your day, but now you're old. You need to just kind of everything's more, I don't know. Shin, I feel like the root of Shin's personality has been there from the beginning, but it's a root that I had to kind of dig out. I don't know. Shin is probably my most favorite character I've ever made. Very, very near and dear to my heart. And I don't know. It's just, I can't explain Shin. Shin is an enigma to me, but I feel like Shin is my best friend.
Oh.
But I don't know enough about him. I feel like Norin sometimes, where it's like, ah, man, like, I need to know more about Shin. What is with this weirdo? But at the same time, I feel like I know everything already. I don't know.
I feel like when we were first making our characters, it was more than just I got to hear the episodes with Norin from the Dicey Cantina again and really wanted to play this character. It was also like, sorry for missing a lot of the grand specifics and maybe not wanting to get spoilery too. Just sort of like some of the themes that we were talking about in terms of how people in the Star Wars, in the galaxy, maybe become radicalized as well, was interesting to me. So it was kind of figuring out, well, how does Norin go from being a scientist at a research lab on an Empire-controlled planet to this random organization that seemingly has no ties to anything? And what is Norin's journey going to look like becoming more of a radicalized person, like, towards that? Like, that's, Norin is comfortable. Like, Norin's, if I go into their character sheet, Norin's background is comfortable beneficiary. Besides the fact that they're non-human, they haven't really had to confront the problems of the Empire before. And to confront the problems of the Empire is going to be a problem for them because it will not put only themselves at risk, but also their family at risk. The stuff about the little sister and the questions isn't just a little throwaway stuff. Like, that's going to, like, if this campaign is going the way that I think it's going, that's going to become very important.
Okay, cool. To kind of rope Ben in on this, since Ozzy and Hookman are around, and we've got questions about them, did you have them kind of pre-planned? Zach was wondering where the bets came from, and Erica was wondering if you're willing to share what those bets might be.
There's only one actual bet. It was planned after a recording session. Well, like halfway between recording sessions, on account of, like, we come up with Hookman and Azee in the session 0. They were around, and I was just wanting to, like, Azee started out as just the chatter fan with the floor polisher. That's all that he was going to be.
Yeah, that's not how chatter fans work.
I mean, okay, I just really love that character from Rebellion.
Okay.
Rebellion? Like, yeah, there's a background character in the... Yeah, it was Star Wars Rebellion, I think. Where there's a background character that his entire thing was this little fuzzball that had a floor polisher. That's all he did. And you could tell things were getting bad when the First Order took the floor polisher away from him.
Resistance. You're talking about resistance.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Resistance. And, like, favorite little character, and that was the entire intent. The Hookman thing, his background, which honestly I think I came up with it relatively shortly after watching the, like, tying Hookman into him going over the wall roughly around the same time the Bad Batch messed around on Serena, right after seeing the episode. The Bad Batch caused a bunch of containers to fall, and he's in logistics, so it's like Yeah, this is no. They're doing silly things now. I'm out. So then having the two of them show up in ISR was like that was sort of the backgrounds. Instead of them just being sort of like hired people, them graduating to being auditors was right after the Kedra shot. Well, in between the recordings, because honestly, that really threw me for a loop.
I did.
The shot, just on account of that entire scene, got so far away from me, and the results, and there was a lot of me talking through with a couple people of, okay, how do I guide this back to closer to where I was wanting to? As it worked out, Henri did the lion's share of the actual stuff before I could really put any of my plans into motion. So great on you, Henri. But the next episode opens up with those two breaking out their personal weapons and responding to, well, someone is shot on this ship. Well, we got to go rescue the kids, as the intent behind it. And then from that, the bet was, are they going to find trouble, or is this going to be just a cakewalk? Hookman was betting that, no, it's just going to be a cakewalk. And Aziz was thinking, well, no, they're not. They're always going to find something weird. That's what a first mission does. They just find something weird, they do their thing, they work through it, and yeah. Which, of course, your player characters ain't gonna stay with that. But yeah, that was the only bet. Was, okay, this. All the other ones have just been comedy value.
The beat in the background.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Shen realizes what the bets are. He just throws money at people.
Just puts you part of thing.
I imagine there's something said in the hall like, yeah, I bet something terrible's going to happen at this, or I bet Captain's going to say something that is incriminating, or, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just pick one to throw money to.
I think that's a fair choice. Well, I'm continuing this vein because we're on the same topic, and Henri, is wondering what character choices were the biggest surprise to you, and said Greek chorus of Ozzy and Hookman.
Really, that shot. That was about the only one that has really, truly thrown me for a loop. Mostly on account of campaign intention versus how things have played out. But all of that was more me having to get good with it in my head. The betting afterwards has turned into this more comedy thing when I remember they're around, and trying to have a bit of, these two have seen everything before. Like, Cookman has been a survivor of the Clone Wars. Aziz also is a survivor of the Clone Wars. Maybe at some point they actually did work alongside Shen and they just don't really remember it. Aziz was the one who showed up with the giant weapon after the defense protocols had been engaged. That, yeah.
It's okay. Not a lot of people remember working with me.
So I wanted to say, Shen's very easily overlooked.
Yeah, once that mohawk went away.
Yeah.
Listen. The mohawk was a stylistic choice for the mission. Of being awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, once I readjusted what I was expecting, like the first arc, the first adventure was a lot of me feeling out where the four of you were coming from as players. Some of it was what you were looking for, but a lot of it was how you were approaching solving problems. And that the entire interrogation scene is what actually threw me, not necessarily specifically the shot. The shot was a logical continuation of that scene. It was, things got intense super quick, and I wasn't expecting that. So when things have happened afterwards, I've been sort of expecting the push it to the firewall kind of thing coming out of y'all.
I just love one of the interrogations, and Norin was thinking like the worst about what Shin was going to do, and he's just like, I'm not a monster, Jesus, Norin.
He just wanted a bright light in their face.
Listen, you guys started behaving really suspect really quickly, and Norin was not prepared for that. It was just what is going on?
Can I just point out that Norin is saying that you guys behave very suspect and has cabinets full of neurotoxins.
Listen, that came in handy for the
by request. Thank
kettles, you. Just saying.
And she avoids vents. I think she's so weird.
And they do have profiles on us. Mm-hmm. We know this. They have mentioned it.
Well, speaking of profiles and suspicious behavior, Ben, I'm assuming this is one of your questions since there's not a tag on it, but we've heard a bit about histories. What is one piece of your history you're looking forward to exploring? And I am going to pick you guys individually just to kind of make sure everybody gets to say something. But I'm going to start with Joy as Kedra.
So something in her past that she's looking forward to exploring?
Or that you are looking forward to exploring.
Yeah.
So, I know I talk a lot about, her life on her planet and hunting and her family, but I haven't exposed yet, a lot of the things she's done between the point where she got off planet to the point where she is now. And I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'm not going to reveal anything because I haven't told anyone. But I'm looking forward to revealing some of the things that she's done that led her to where she's currently at. I think that to me would be, I don't know, the whole, everyone wants to talk about their childhood. It's easy to talk about your childhood, but it's kind of not more recent stuff. A lot of people, when you have stuff that happened, you don't really share that as often. So I'm looking forward to finally revealing some things that Peter went through to bring her to where she is.
Cool. Isasel?
Yeah.
What's her shenanigan?
So there's a fun chunk in her backstory where I specifically mention it's she loses her found family that brought her to space and showed her how to pilot, and then 5 years pass and we appear at the beginning of the game. That 5-year period has always been this fun little section where I would just drop lines she used to be a pod racer or an illegal street racer and things like that. Just I can't wait to one day jump into the weird Fast and Furious life she had for 5 years before this party, because she's so good at piloting, and what I've given her is I want to explore. I can't wait to show people that what was the insanity Isasel did for 5 years when no one was looking.
I'm excited about that as well. Sorry, I'm just remembering that they started off stealing DVD players or something.
Yeah.
You wouldn't download a car.
Sorry, I've never seen it. I only have context for what people have said about it. So I just starting out, swiping holo projectors. Erica with Norin?
One of my problems with characters and campaigns is that I can suddenly mind sparks on something I haven't considered yet. In the Discord, I was just what have I said about Norin's mom? Have I said anything about Norin's mom recently? And so far the answer seems to be no. So I have a thought in the back of my brain on Norin's mom and maybe getting to explore that and talking to Ben about that. But there's also just the I think I also said I don't want them they don't want to go back to Coruscant.
Yeah, that one specific place we're not allowed to go back to is Coruscant.
Yeah.
Ben's questions at the beginning.
I think that's more like
so much.
personal embarrassment and shame. Like they don't want to go back and be and like maybe run into their old peers and have to be like, yeah, I work on a Wayfarer ship in random parts of the galaxy.
We're friends now.
Shen?
So there's a lot about Shin that either you can't talk about or shouldn't talk about, but I like the idea of Shin has to keep moving because there's something actually really, really wrong that they're trying to either avoid admitting that it's wrong or not supposed to be what it is, or finding out an answer to a question. I've kind of hinted Shin was raised by an uncle and has a sister, and we don't really hear a lot about the uncle. That was more like, oh, Shin had a bad youth growing up. There's a lot of issues with the before life, but it's come out recently that Shin had a younger sister that he looked up to a lot, and it's like it's not something that comes up, but when it does come up, Shin kind of shifts emotionally. I think it's interesting to explore the depth of like this is the Shin we all know, but when something comes up that is true that we didn't know before, I don't know, learning Shin's personality quirks and the tells as to what's real, what's fake, what's serious, what's not serious to Shin is fun for me because I like messing with Norin.
I think I picked up on that.
But because of Shin's history, a lot has to remain hidden. At least in his mind, he needs to keep things hidden. But it's hard, right? Not only is he old, but he is on a there is something that pulled him out of retirement. He's not he's not young. He was not working for a while before this. But now he has questions he needs answered, and he needs to get back into the galaxy at whole. I don't know. I like learning along with everybody about Shin.
So your history that you're looking to explore is your history.
Yeah.
That's completely legitimate.
How much of Shen's mysteriousness is you keeping mum about things, and how much of it you don't know?
I think a lot of things Shin has forgotten. Also, in his line of work, there was a lot of embellishment. Think James Bond, but bad.
Archer.
Archer, essentially, I need cover. Okay, the cover that I'm going to make is absolutely ridiculous, completely insane, but somehow it works.
Yeah, I'm thinking part of it might also be some head wounds, but
Oh, for sure.
Cranial trauma aside.
And the drugs. A lot of not like the different types of chemicals Shin has worked with over time.
Uh-huh. Moving on. Legitimately, just because we've got a couple more grown-up questions before we get to silliness. Abject silliness as opposed to standard. Looks like Ben, friend of the show /GM, is wondering, with recording only once a month, how hard has it been to keep consistent in your characterization or accent?
What accent?
Yeah. No, I have two very specific faces I'm looking at. And by faces, I mean names on a screen. Which would be Isazel. I believe we've kind of already got a reference to that. But then we also have Kedra, because you guys both have some fun with your your speech profiles, but characterizations for everybody.
Well, so I'm horrible with accents. So I tried, like my Keitra is kind of supposed to be like a Russian, Ukrainian type of like accent. But like I'm so bad. So I just whenever I play her, I just pretend I'm trying to be Russian. I'm so bad with it. So it's going to be inconsistent because I'm really bad. I'm just not good with accents. But in my brain, I have like I usually like I've role played for years and years, and I don't do accents. But for some reason, I just really needed to with her. I was like, I've had this other character that I played with it kind of a Scottish accent. To me, it's fun. I find it interesting. It gets me in the character a little bit better. But I don't find it too hard playing it when like. I think it would be even harder for me if it was every week I had to do it. Because doing it once a month, I can like, I go and I practice a little, and then I like, and then when I do it, I'm like, oh, okay. And my problem is as a person, when I'm around accents, I pick it up. I naturally pick up other people's, and I just do what they're doing because I try to talk and assimilate with other people. And so having other people have accents, I pick up on theirs. I'm like, no, that's not my accent. I got to stop that.
Nope, that's
So,
familiar.
yeah.
I'm very much in the same boat, so I can appreciate that process.
Isacel's accent has caused issues with me on that one where it's not that hard for me to get like, you know, jump back into it once I start going into it. But what's happened is it's bled into my normal life. So every once in a while I'll be talking, and I'm Mexican. I have a lot of Mexican family, so there's this accent's normal. And all of a sudden, I'm right there, I'm talking, all of us, I'm full Isabella accent, and everyone's looking at me like, oh wait, sorry, I lost the voice there for a second. And it's kind of just become a known quirk, and it's just like, it's just life now. Somehow my characters bleed into me. I wasn't planning on that, but it's fun.
Well, the thing is about that is that can be normal for your character too, because that's an actual thing for you. That's your actual accent that like is stronger or weaker depending on who you're talking to and like what you're talking about or like your excitement or everything. Like my partner was born in New York, and most of the time you wouldn't really notice a strong accent, but like the couple of times where I've managed to like teasingly trigger it, it's just been like amazing. It's so funny to me. So that's normal, and you put that little bit of yourself into Isacel. So Isacel's Canary accent gets a little bit stronger or weaker depending on like enthusiasm or what she's talking about.
Oh, yeah, especially when I get into it and I start using mistranslated idioms, because those are my favorite things to slip in and hope no one notices. I still love, and they were crewmates. I've been waiting to use that line so long.
It was exactly what I thought it was. All right.
It was
I
Shin.
do not have context, but okay.
Shin, I just
and they were roommates. It's a shipping thing.
Okay.
I have a problem with staying in accents usually. So with Shin, I just pitch it down and kind of make it gravelly, and there you go. There's Shin, and I try to talk like myself. So maybe I stutter a little bit more. I don't know. Shin gets excited easily.
Man, my husband is so good with accents. He can switch characters. He does it in his sleep too. He'll switch characters, and it's hilarious. And I'm just
You've talked about this before.
And then like I'm just like here struggling. I'm like, I don't know, but it's fun.
For me, Norin's voice is my voice, but like I mean, all of my characters' voice is just my voice. But Norin, especially, like when it comes to playing characters like Lodi for Path of the Storm, whose voice is supposed to be a lot more like flowing and lean a little bit more into my roots when I was little and lived in England and all that stuff. Like I have to make sure I'm drinking, room temperature water so my throat's not all gunked up. Norn, don't care. I'm drinking Powerade. I've got a Coke on my desk. This is fine. It's a little bit more the attitude there, of course. Like, one thing that I've noticed with Norn in this campaign is that they're not quite as wired or anxious as I would expect to play them as. And I've just put that down to, one, they're always in crisis mode trying to solve all of the problems. And two, the crew is really nice and appreciative of them. And that actually feeds into giving them a little bit more confidence.
So you say all your characters have the same voices, but you manage to capture different personalities so well and how you just like tweak your voices.
Yeah,
it's the cadence of which of how
like
you
me.
speak.
I'm just kind of like, I can't do accents, just like Joy, and if I try, I will mess it up. But that's what I try and do. Like Norin, I'm slouching. I don't care. Like Lodi, I have to have my shoulders back and my spine straight. And
so you have a posture that you assume when you're taking the different characters. I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Nor and I can be lazy.
And get your Powerade out, man. Come on. Let's do that. I mean, gross, but to each their own. This is a question that is near and dear to my heart. For folks that are not familiar, one of my favorite chants at a table is split the party, split the party. Ben is wondering, what's a party split you folks are hoping to try?
Is there any we haven't done yet? I guess Shin and Norin haven't had a lot of time separated from everybody else, but I feel like we've all had a little bit of split party time. Like,
Keydris has had the most solo time.
I'm sorry.
It's life. You are loved. Do not worry.
Don't give Norin solo time, anyway.
Well, okay, that did just make me think of... I'll discuss that later.
Shin's had a solo moment, but if someone gives Shin an order or suggests a different course of action, Shin is more of an order taker than an order giver. So, like, it didn't last long. Never made it to that event. Biggest regret.
I was going to say, one of the ones I'm looking forward to is just more Isasel Shen when no one's there to tell them not to do something.
Are you sure this is a good idea, Captain?
I can come up with an excuse. Don't worry about it. Just inject it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Out of the mouth of your captain, always what you want to hear.
The captain is really good at liability conversations, okay? I use real life there.
If the captain okays it, it's fine.
I think anyone that I get, like if I go one-on-one with someone, I think is fun because I can play off of any of their characters. They're so fun. It's amazing. And I make situations weird anyways, so I mean...
I absolutely love Shin and Keydra time.
Oh my gosh, that was so fun.
So much do I love it. Shin's just like, what?
I think my favorite part about Shen and Keydra that I've seen thus far is Shen in the background talking to people about Keydra as Keydra is doing things. And Shen's just back there like,
eyes down,
contact,
hands flat.
Oh no, you do want to egg her on. That's a great idea.
Do it.
Oh yeah, say that. See what happens.
I will say another pair, and I'm looking forward to seeing happen again, just for story reason, is Norn and Isasel.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Hey, Isasel, want to make it gay?
Absolutely.
Hey, Henry, want to make this gay?
Hey, if that is a question, the answer is yes, and...
Well, before we go down that rabbit path a little too far, because I have a feeling you guys can giggle yourself silly. Ben, I think I'm going to ask you to ask this question because I'm not sure I'm reading it clearly.
This is like the 7th time I've tried to write it out.
Okay.
And it actually is one that was asked of me to ask the players, and this one actually includes you, Leslie. So, ha.
Oh. And double ha.
since its inception, Heroes has had a very diverse gender and sexuality character landscape. It's been sort of one of the core foundational things to Heroes. And the person who was asking was wondering if there was any advice for people who are wanting to explore either through roleplay that anyone has. I know Leslie's played cross-gender before with Billy. Otherwise, like, generally it has been. But yeah, that's a basic question of, have you played cross-gender or explored your gender expression through role-playing? And if so, how have you dealt with the other people at the table, especially if it hasn't entirely gone well?
I mean, we had a whole conversation about accidentally misgendering Norin. Post one session, I think. Which, again, like, for me, I'm not really exploring my gender. I'm pretty confidently cisgender. Like, I'm a woman. I'm not anything else. I play non-binary characters sometimes because I don't know, just feels right for them to break them out a little bit from who I am or what I am. I don't think I'd ever play a male character. Yeah. But like one of my first non-binary characters, Fossil in the Tales from the Grey Library for the other place, I gave Fair the pronouns I gave them because I had a friend who was newly using those pronouns, so I wanted to try them out and make them part of my lexicon for a little bit so that I could get more used to them. So yeah, I guess it's know your table, and know that you're playing with people you can trust to have those conversations with. Like, I'm playing at a table with 3 individuals who fall under the trans umbrella. Like, we can have that conversation, and I know that none of us are going to be bad about it. Does that make sense, guys?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because as someone who's one of the 3 you're talking about, I'm a trans non-binary woman. I've been playing D&D like in tabletop games as a whole before and after my transition, and I think I've always played with gender, played with sexuality. I've had cis male characters, like agender, non-binary, trans, female. I've played fluid characters. I've done every sexuality you could think of. I've from what's it called, asexual all the way to the pansexual and everything in between. And I think one of the big things I've learned from it is so much of it is the vibe of your table and playing with people who are just going to let imagination run, let it be part of the thing. Everyone's going to respect each other, have fun, and understanding, you're here to have fun and explore stuff and just be have a good vibe with it. And I will admit, I've had tables where it wasn't the case. I had a table where I played a non-binary character who was the inception of a character that would become a recurring one. And I remember being at that table, that character was non-binary at the time. I was just thinking, does this work for this character I'm making? And this is back when I was masculine presenting. And I ended up in a back and forth with him about just if non-binary, like just him making fun of the character for being non-binary, and then me defending non-binary people because a lot of my friends were, and I did not sit down for it. Needless to say, I did not play with him again. I cut that table off, created a new table, and kind of stood by my laurels of, no, I want tables where everyone is just going to be open and accepting and inviting and kind, where we can make jokes and have fun that are not directed at people or characters' genders and sexualities. There's 1,000 ways to make gay jokes that are funniest things in the world.
Yeah.
If you go in with that love of it, of that fun of it. And same with just gender identity too. I mean, we do it all the time.
We're having such a good time just playing up the comedy of Arrow Ace Norin and
and then disaster lesbian Isazel, and it's just like
like that's like it's about your table. It's about who you're playing with, and you don't have to say this is me. I'm exploring myself. You can just do that quietly. Not like saying you closet yourself. No, just like if you're not comfortable with everybody knowing that that's what you're doing, don't advertise it, I guess. Like I didn't even think about exploring your sexuality, and I guess I did that a little bit before I ever realized certain things about myself with sexuality. It's all about your table. It's all about the people you're playing with.
I 100% agree with that. Because look, I'm a Christian and I'm a very straight person and I'm cis woman, but I have no problem with anyone with the choices that you make in your life, and I have no problem with that. And characters are characters. I've played guys, I've played bi, I've played all sorts of things, and it's not me exploring me. It's me just letting characters be themselves. And I think like some people just, I don't know, it's like they got to stick up their butt or something, and they just can't get past that. And I think it's stupid. It ruins so much friendships to be stupid, because there's so much fun that can be had no matter what people's gender or preferences are. Like there should be no like problem. Like my only issue as an English teacher is sometimes my grammar. I'm like they, them. I try so hard to get it correct, but in my brain, I'm like they, them is multiple people. So like it's just my teacher and me that struggles with getting that correct. And I always try to purposely make sure I get that correct, because I don't want to be offensive to anyone. And so like for me, I try like, I don't see people as gender or as like what's your preference or whatever. I see you as people and friends, and I just at the table like we should treat each other as kind, wonderful people that we are. And I think that that's the most important part of any kind of table that you get to, is finding people who can just mesh well. And if you don't play with them. Like if they're not gonna let you be you, or let you be like have your own thoughts and stuff, and have differences and still be able to be friendly, then they don't really want to be your friend, because friends will let you have your own opinion and still be friends with you.
Yeah, you don't all have to be
agreeing
at the table, as long as you respect each other.
Yep.
I grew up in a home where gender was weaponized, and it caused a lot of problems for me growing up. I will sometimes explore gender stuff in non-tabletop RPGs, but when it comes to like tabletop, my characters are my characters. I usually don't plan for like the gender identity. Shin, it was one of those things where we were explaining our pronouns, so I was like, well, I need to get some pronouns for Shin. Shin's old. Shin is whatever in my mind, like my grandpa. If my grandpa was cool, so it's like, sure, he uses cisgender he/him pronoun, but he doesn't care. Like it's not like it's because that's just how he is. That's not because he doesn't believe in the non-existence. He doesn't believe other pronouns don't exist. That's just Shin's he/him. That's just how Shin has felt to me. I do play a lot of characters that if it comes up, they're generally non-binary. They're usually they, them, just because it's just how, in my mind, I don't like to get locked into it usually. I don't know. But I explore my stuff like that on my own generally. It's just, I still have a lot of hang-ups about myself. So it's hard for me to express it in a group setting. If that makes any sense.
That makes perfect sense.
It's easier for me to do that in games where either I'm online and I'm typing instead of talking, or when I'm playing solo games by myself.
I guess at the end of the day, playing role-playing games of any medium, tabletop, video games, with a group, without a group, is a great method for exploring anything. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even need to be like your gender or your sexuality. You can use tabletop role-playing games to explore religious trauma. You can use tabletop role-playing games to explore toxic masculinity. You can and
you could come to terms with parts about yourself through roleplay as well.
Yeah, which is, I guess, why it's can be a therapy tool as well, I suppose.
You can get your aggression out too by shooting people.
In
the leg.
Just some innocent mine workers.
Yeah.
Is this before or after you've abducted them?
Well, before, clearly. That's why they don't get away.
Yes.
And I'll never tell your secrets.
Oh,
get those redacted files back.
Oh, you won't find those.
On to silliness.
Silliness.
I think that's probably for the best because we're already running long and
a little bit, yeah.
I want to make this
night.
It's a fun extras episode. Who cares if it's running long?
I mean,
probably the person
editor,
that edits
but...
it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna thank Filbert66, Twitchy Taco, V'ger, and Hurley for submitting questions, and move into the lightning round. Ideally, these are quick fire question answers. If you think of one you want to tag in, that's totally fine.
Questions.
Try not to think too hard.
Is it questions for the characters or questions for
Good
the
luck with
player?
that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Respond as you feel led.
Okay.
How did I get here?
I don't answer that question. You answer mine. Just so you know.
The evil GM laugh.
Oh, Ben's got a good one. Just so you know, you are all now attending a fancy party. Isazel. Gown, tux, statement, peace.
Oh no, full gown with a little cape on it and everything. Sparkly like no tomorrow, matching heels. Hair up and did. She is making a statement.
Norin, who was detained for sneaking in a weapon?
Kedra.
How was Kedra sneaking in a weapon?
She wasn't. She wasn't.
Walked in. Sneaking. My weapon's over my shoulder. What? I can't bring in my sniper? What are you talking about?
I told you. How did we not notice this?
Kedra, what's the color of your drink?
Blue.
Shen, what is your snack on a stick?
Oh, it's like those little shrimp thing from Moncow. Oh my goodness, they're fried. I don't like the ones that are like, they gotta be fried, not boiled, not raw. They gotta be fried. The little that spice from Onderon. Oh, so good.
Ben, is Dead in the Water a Life Day movie?
Yes.
Isazel, who is designing the new uniform?
Isazel is.
Norin, how many opinions do you have about that?
As long as it's not like the same green as my skin tone, whatever.
Shen, Superhero Squad, who is the brains, the rage, the leader, and the party guy?
Norin's the brains. Kedra's the rage. I'm clearly the party guy. And Captain's Captain.
Better for worse.
Ben/Ozzy, what is the best holovid snack?
Little shrimp. No.
Ben/Ozzy.
It's these little exploding things from Alderaan. They come on this, like... All they do is come on this stick. It's some form of biome thingy, and you put it in one of the heaters, and it just starts exploding off of it. And it tastes really good, slightly sweet. It's great.
I'm not going to lie, that sounds amazing. Kedra, makeover episode. It's a montage. Who is being made over?
Norin.
Poor man.
Because Kedra has no interest in that.
Yeah. Makeover montages, you generally don't get a choice, but fair enough. I think that's probably how it would still work out. Shen, what is your lightsaber color and style?
Orange, curved like Dooku's because it's so cool.
Norin, what kind of Zord would you have?
You're the good question.
Sword? Crap. I'm not a big Power Rangers girly.
Do you summon it with a flute?
If all else fails, what kind of cool action vehicle would you have instead?
Motorcycle.
I want to imagine Norin doing something awesome with explosions in the background on a motorcycle.
On a motorcycle, apparently.
Exactly.
Now, would you be in the sidecar? Sorry.
Would I be?
That was
what?
Shen, because you got excited, what kind of Zord would you have?
Yeah. The thing from Daxon. Oh, crumb! I just knew it's. It's like Warp's crest. Drexel. Yeah, Drexel. They fly. They got fangs. I think they got venom too.
Ben, for Hookman and Ozzy, what kind of cryptid are you guys hoping to find in space?
And then I blank on the name.
All right. There is a murder mystery at this fancy party.
Yes.
Who is going to be our impromptu detective?
Shen.
Yeah, I'll say Shen, and against their will, Norin will be the assistant.
Yeah.
Isasel will be what? Let's be real. Isasel and Kedra would be two of the suspects.
Kedra's number
let me get
one
my pipe.
suspect. Who'd you shoot this time,
See,
Kedra?
that would be too easy.
I didn't do it, I tell you. I didn't shoot him this time. Next time, maybe.
This time.
All right. Joy/Kedra, Life Day special or Beach Day episode?
Oh, beach day. Let's go and have fun at the beach and eat clams and crabs and so fun.
Oh, you heard that, Ben?
Yep.
This one's Twitchy Taco. If each character were a cookie, what kind would they be?
Oatmeal raisin.
Ooh,
Chocolate chip.
Snickerdoodle.
Ooh.
Thin mint, because I'm all gooey on the inside.
I mean, we're all gooey on the inside.
Yes.
Keeper, I think we're all a little good.
I heard an ooh ooh. Is that one of the four that already answered, or was that a Ben?
That was not a me.
That was
Oh, okay.
Sounds like the kind of sound Zach would make.
What? No.
I think my favorite sound that I hear out of character is Zach's giggle.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because you've got the Shen voice doing the gravelly Batman thing, and then you've got
My little teehees. Yeah.
they're the best.
Yeah. So I had to have a character with a deeper voice than I normally do because my voice is so high.
I think your voice is lovely.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
Everyone's voice is lovely.
if the characters could be in a different media franchise, what franchise would they be in? Isatel.
My Hero Academia. I'm really into that right now. That's just it.
I mean,
Shen.
Ghostbusters.
Yes. Kedra.
Lord of the Rings, but with a gun.
Oh no! With a gun. That's what I'm like. Wait.
Sniper rifle. What do your elf eyes see? Nothing.
Don't worry, you have your bow and arrows. I have my gun. These orcs will die very quick.
Norin.
Bones.
Oh,
Nice.
Hookman.
Wait, what?
Come on, if you could be in a different media
That's the
franchise.
answer.
I'd like to be in one of those detective shows that takes place mostly on a beach and in hotels. Maybe
Burn
has
notice.
a helicopter.
I like the helicopter. That's a nice touch. That really adds to the vibe.
B8 might want to be in Wally.
And
That's
so that
fine,
was
Bear.
V'ger, by the way. Sorry, V'ger. What bumper sticker would everybody put on their speeders? Norrin.
If you can read this, you're too close.
That tracks. Shen.
It'd be like a Shistavainen Albert Einstein with the tongue stick out picture, but it'd be Shistavainen, of course.
I like it. Isasel.
If you could read this, I've lost my lead.
Oh no!
Kedra.
So mine would say I heart hunting, but you wouldn't be able to see it because she'd have animals draped over it.
Oh, I think you say it's because it's camouflage.
I mean, animals can be a form of camouflage.
That is true.
They're a
That is
disturbing
true.
form of camouflage.
It'd be all her kills hanging over.
Mm.
All right. And then one more for everybody, starting with Ben. You have to come up with a new ship. Is it alphabetical or animal?
Alphabetical.
Kedra.
Animal, of course.
Yeah, I know. That was a silly one, but
Yes.
Shen?
Numerical.
Ooh. Going against type. Norrin?
Leet speak.
Alphabetical.
And Isasel.
You're gonna laugh. Alphabetical after this. It's easier
Oh,
to say.
All right. Last question. It's time for the, if I'm allowed to say it, big damn hero walk. What's the pose? Norrin.
Like running away from the explosion?
Well, I mean, ideally, no, but that doesn't seem out of character.
Yeah, like running. And like, I know what the, this is not safe to slow walk away from an explosion. We are sprinting. We've got our hands over our ears.
Ozzy? Sorry, Ben, I keep just jumping in with random characters for you.
Actually, no. Azi is going to be walking away slowly with a giant weapon that is at least as long as he is tall,
Yes.
draped over his shoulder.
Very nice. Shen.
A syringe in each hand with a confused look on his face, trying to figure out what is in each syringe. Which one's poison? Which one's just gonna knock him out? I don't remember what color.
God, I'm taking away your
Good luck. I made copies.
Kedra.
She is going to be kind of walking away with the guns over her shoulder, strutting, but then every once in a while turning and shooting behind her. Just for fun.
Very nice. Isasel?
Walking forward, taking off her glasses to get the end of the movie first kiss from the person she's been aiming for the entire time.
You're going to do the dramatic hair shakeout too?
Oh yeah, the bun comes down and everything. You realize her hair's way more wavy than you expected it to be.
There's some artful lens flare.
Oh yeah, the whole shebang.
Credits roll.
Who's Art Spellman?
Thank you for listening to this episode of Heroes of the Hydian Way. You can find show updates at linktree/The Hydian Way, and you can find me, Ben, on the socials at Deuterium Ice.
You can find me, Joy, on the Other Place podcast season 2 as Talana, and live on twitch.tv/JoyWilliamy2, playing a variety of games.
You can find me, Erica Goodwitch, at goodwitchstudios.com. And just for like a brief list of like all the things that I've done and appeared in, my Linktree/Erica Goodwitch.
You can find me, Zach, at the Tales of the Outer Rim link tree, and guest GMing on a season of Tales from the Grey Library.
And you can find me, Henry, everywhere as at Sim Disorder with one Y and one I in that order.
And I am me, Leslie, at LesletGS on places.
And we're all at theheidiandway.com, where you can find previous episodes in previous seasons.
You can find more episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Music. Plus, you can help us out by rating, reviewing, and subscribing.
You can holocom us at heroes@theheidiandway.com, and you can find merch at tpublic.com/user/theheidiandway.
If you like what we do and want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/theheidiandway.
Or you can send the team some calf at kofi.com/theheidiandway.
Commander, seriously, I have to know where you got that picture. I know that's not in my file, because I have seen my file.
You have your secrets, we have ours.
No, don't give me that. That's a picture of me.
Also, dang it, I was going to ask Gonk, Pit, or Mouse to somebody.
Mouse.
Oh,
Yes.
Gonk. Only because Mouse is taken.
Wait, no, I want Probe Droid.
Oh, hamburger droids are awful.
Mouse.
Cam Droid.
Actually, I think I answered that as a question on one of our questions.
No droid. I cannot.
droids?
No, you can't hide it as well when you have something. Beep 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 beep. They're not very good at camouflage.
I just want to say Billy is deeply offended right now. She's going to go shuffle her sabacc deck and frown.
I'll say, before we close out the recording, can you give us 10 XP for being good Q&A participants?
Yes, but you can only apply them to
Nice
your
try.
own life.
Nice try. No.